I came on to EWR when it was eWeb Results as a contractor, actually, and then got brought in house and moved up. And then we actually, Chris, who was my co-host, who started the podcast, we grew another business that's very, very successful now. I'll tell you, I don't want to give too much away, but we just got him on another podcast. But this is where podcasting's going. Okay. We paid $23,000 or close to that, somewhere in that number, for 45 minutes on a specific podcast. Okay.
Wow.
And he had to drive to the location and all that. And why did we do that? Why did we do that? Well, when we were first launching the supplement brand, he came to me and he said, like, how do we need to, what's our go to market? And I was like, how much money we got? And he's like, $8,000. And so I got him on a bunch of podcasts, and we saw huge ROI from that, and built affiliate programs, and continued to build the brand. Now he's got a book, he's got a conference, he's got his own podcast. And one of the major objectives that we're tracking on kind of like experimental search, in addition to like the main staples, are podcasts. And we found a huge ROI from that. And so it's really worth the investment. And so now he and the other partners that started EWR are doing that full time. And I had the opportunity to buy an ownership share and looking at, taking out the rest of the cap table at a certain point. So, but yeah, so I've kind of gone through that as well. And I would tell you that SEO was a very nice shiny object that you said SEO, and everybody wanted that. I'm starting to feel the same way when we're talking about, showing up in ChatGPT or something like that. People don't really understand how the systems work. I think they're a little more hands-on with it, but I'm seeing a lot of need for it. And there's this huge debate. Okay. And I know a lot of the top SEOs, and man, I hate getting on LinkedIn because there's just too much going on all the time. It's pretty noisy, but there's a huge group of people that are like, it's still just SEO, right? And then there's a huge group of people going, no, it's fundamentally different. And then I look at the data and I'm like, well, there, is about 30% something overlap. And fundamentally, they're trying to get to the same result, but how they get there is completely different. And I don't think that that's been fully realized. And I think there's just a lot of debate around like a new name or a shiny object. But fundamentally, the more I get into learning about AI itself and how machine learning works, and then how they surface everything, it's fundamentally, improved my understanding of, like, it's not about following checklists. You know what I mean? It's not, like, everything's been shifting. And I think everything's a lot more open and more transparent, but it's more complicated. So it's still kind of black box for a lot of people. And I just now, in the last couple of months, have started to see people fundamentally take the shift. I mean, maybe people are talking about it, but they're giving lip service to it. But now I'm starting to see real inroads happen in the space. And I also see these AI systems acting really, really odd. They're not like just following what Google's doing anymore. So I'd be interested to hear kind of your take on the market itself, and like well, I know we were talking previously about KPIs and tracking and revenue and all those sort of things. I would love to see kind of how you're stacking it up today.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned a whole bunch there in just like 2 minutes, and I'm very aligned with you on the. In fact, I had to stop and back myself out of LinkedIn for a period last year and just be in there for essential things and ignore the feed, because people I
Yes.
know and love and trust were giving me either frustrating me not in a bad way, but just with where the debate was going and the conversations were going, or giving me some FOMO where it's like, well, I'm
Yeah.
not doing all these massive experiments and reverse engineering everything because that's not a good use of my time right now, for this fraction of maybe getting one visitor or speculating on where this is. My goal isn't to break the news in the industry. It's to
Yes. Yeah.
help brands move forward and distill a lot of that down. So yes, I'm testing and experimenting, but at a level that is closer to being something I can implement or my team can implement. And so
Mhm.
we actually wrote a it's not a public POV, but we wrote one last year as an exercise for us to really get around that, because there was so much about people wanting to coin the new term and or talk about what it is and isn't, where I think to the point you were getting into a little bit is, on the traffic side of it, it's not a correlation of, okay, well, maybe search traffic dropped 50% and that 50% can be accounted for over in an LLM.